only.
10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Up only.
Hello and welcome to Up Only TV. I'm Ledger. Kobe's on the line today as normal, and we've got a trader stream. We've got ISO, Abe, and SZ. We'll see if we can keep that straight as we get through it. We want to tell you about our partners at FTX. Go to uponly.tv/FTX. I don't know why, but they sent me like 1,000 fortune cookies today. So maybe our luck will be with us and yours too. Go to uponly.tv/FTX. Make a trade there today. You can do it all at FTX. You can also earn yield on your assets and track your portfolios you've known and loved since 2014. Let's get to the episode. Kobe, did you get any fortune cookies from FTX? You got actual swag from FTX. That's like you got a backpack and a sweatshirt and stuff.
Yeah, they sent me clothes. And no fortune cookies. Have you got the fortune cookies near you? Can you open one up and just give us a fortune now? Because I want to know what my fortune is.
Yeah, I think I just showed off my bald spot. So.
Wait, you got a bald spot? Show off again?
No, absolutely not.
Give us a glimpse. All right, what's the fortune?
Here's some ASMR for you.
All right,
the volatility of life is what makes it fun. I think that means we're.
Wait, they're trader-related fortune cookies.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Anyway, right, let's get on with it. Let's move on. We got Ashton Kutcher, Abe, C. You do look quite a lot like Ashton Kutcher, ISO. Like quite a lot. Have you got this before?
No. I get Tom Cruise maybe like 30 times. Yeah. So we'll just leave it at that. But Ashton Kutcher, it's a new one.
You have the Tom Cruise thing on. Either is unfair. There's an unfairly handsome crowd here, and I'm just over here with my bald spot eating fortune cookies, so screw you guys.
Welcome to the show. SZ, Abe, how you doing?
Not too bad, my man. How are you?
I'm all right, mate.
Hi, I'm fine. I'm a little bit sick, but I'm doing well.
You're sick? When you started, you're like, I think I've got COVID. How did you get COVID? Have you been hanging around with irreputable people?
Well, I actually been traveling and I flew home 2 days ago and I kind of got sick. And I was in the US and they don't actually ask for like any tests or anything when you come back to Europe. So I probably had like fever the whole flight, but they didn't really care. So
you're a super spreader.
Yeah, basically this is how
COVID now.
Yeah, this is how these things work actually.
All right.
It would be cool if you had your own variant, wouldn't it? If you like made up your own variant and they just weren't calling it the Abe variant. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. So for people that are listening on the podcast and they can't look, they're not on YouTube or whatever. Can you just give a little bit of background into each of you? Like, who are you? What did you do? How did you end up on here? What's going on?
Let's start with Abe.
Oh, so yeah, my name is Adam. Actually, most people call me actually that. I've been trading for the last 7 years, I guess. And I actually haven't been that long in crypto. I used to trade European bonds and all these like boomer markets that no one is actually trading. But then I don't know, I got into crypto like 2 years ago and started this whole futures trading thing and yeah, basically that's kind of it. So I'm not that long in the space. I've been trading for quite some time, but I've been trading legacy markets before.
I feel like we've had a lot of legacy folks that came over to crypto on the show lately. SC, what about you?
I've been trading full-time for nearly 10 years, mainly traditional markets, FX and equity indices. Started to dabble into crypto around 2017 and then more 2019, 2020 onwards, taking it more serious. But yeah, mainly traditional markets still, but crypto here and there.
What about you, Ashton?
Man, I feel like it's a pretty long story. That was rather brief. So I've been in.
We can do the long story. Let's do the long one. Do the long version.
Okay.
I'm here. I got my drink.
Right.
I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I got a mango claw just for all the people in the audience who asked me to have one.
A mango claw. Kobe, do you know what that is?
I have absolutely no fucking clue.
White Claw. Yeah, so I graduated college. I started in traditional finance in 2008, and I was in the equity research space, covered oil and gas companies, so specialized in exploration and production and oil services and equipment, and spent about 5 years doing that. 2 different firms. I had a brief stint in an institutional sales role a bit to kind of see the other side of the business, trading aspect of it. So I cut my teeth kind of right out of school in traditional finance, realized that's not something that I wanted to do going forward, and pretty much a big 180 and just started to explore more of my creative side. So obviously the whole photography thing, crypto ISO, I have a photography business. It's kind of one of my passions. I was living in New York. I moved to California to kind of get more perspective. I mean, the East Coast is very hustle and bustle. It just seemed like a more active lifestyle out there. So I spent 2 years out there, and you know, I was trying to pursue this creative career path, videography, photography, and I linked up with some guys who were pretty high-end production, kind of like studios or houses, and we had basically worked on some projects. Like I worked on a couple startups, like GoPro accessories when GoPro was hot at the time. So I was kind of just dabbling a lot of different things. And I was asked to help film a kiteboarding movie by a friend of mine who is let's call him a wealthy Texan. And, you know, you get presented with an opportunity, and I knew that I had this whole network of film guys. And so, you know, we basically, did a pretty high-end production budget for a kiteboarding movie in North Carolina in the Outer Banks. And I brought 13 guys out there. We set up, we had helicopters, red cameras, phantom cameras. It was really cool. And the whole time these guys were looking at Bitcoin charts, and I didn't know what it was. And this was like spring 2017. And it was kind of just getting to be a distraction. And I was just like, all right, what is this? And, you know, after the film shoot, I downloaded the book, The Age of Cryptocurrency. Listened to that on tape, and was like, this makes a lot of sense to me. I always viewed crypto as this cultural and political shift in society as the younger generations are coming up the curve and the old guard is kind of dying off. So it made sense to me. I bought some Bitcoin, I bought some Ethereum. I didn't really dabble in altcoins. And then in 2018, I started to get kind of more into altcoins. I rode the Tron trade. That was a fun one. And then I kind of just left it as is and really didn't do anything with crypto. I had a Twitter account before I was just a nobody. And so when the kind of the bottom was forming in 2019, I started to get interested again. And I created the crypto Twitter account, Crypto ISO. And I thought, it would be a unique experiment to try to bring more of a fundamental analysis approach combined with technical analysis and create some entertainment around the account itself. So bringing in photography and kind of creating this brand around it. And I didn't have a lot of followers. I mean, people seemed to like the things I was putting out. And then I joined the group Crypto Insiders. And I think there was like 250 people in there at the time. And I met a really good friend of mine named Zoran Cole. I think most people know him, Captain Cole on Twitter. And I just started to talk to him a lot on the side, and we built that community of traders. And I wanted to do more in the space, and I wasn't really sure what it was, but collectively we came up with a trading curriculum. And you know, we've kind of developed this idea of liquidity theory. And I think people are familiar with that, a lot of the liquidation charts that I post on Twitter. And it just has kind of evolved from there. And, you know, when the market crashed in March, and we went through kind of the bear, I started to look outside of kind of just trading the charts a bit more and looking at thematic, narrative-driven thesis around things. And so I viewed crypto as, in 2017, you had a bunch of white papers basically, and there was a lot of hot air. But I think there's more substance to a lot of the ideas that are coming out in projects. And so I kind of went back to my roots of equity research and doing fundamental analysis on things, and have taken that approach with trading now. Obviously, I've been very vocal about the gaming metaverse plays. We were early to the AVAX ecosystem. And so my crypto journey has just constantly been evolving ever since. And, this Twitter kind of persona or profile has gotten a lot bigger than I ever expected. And so, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the path of how I got into crypto and where I am now and why I'm on the show with you guys.
Awesome. Hey, when did you actually shift to more of the kind of fundamental narrative stuff that you blended with TA? Was that like 2020 or what year was that?
I would say it was over the summer or so.
Oh, like this
last
summer?
Yeah.
Nice.
So when people saw this lineup, they were like, right, it's going to be a full bearish episode because I think SZ, particularly, you're like known as being you post bearish shit no matter what's happening. you post bearish taunts all the time. But then I joined the call. I was like 10-15 minutes late, sorry. And I get told it's like an Ethereum bull episode. What's going on? Are we bullish Ethereum? What's happening?
I think Bitcoin and Ethereum, I'm kind of neutral. I think more range, but FBTC, I'm bullish. So yeah, if that's what makes up for it.
FBTC's bullish. It looks a little bit like swing fairly pattern on the daily, though, doesn't it?
It does.
That don't look too nice.
To delete my tweet.
But yeah, I mean, it's like the highest level it's been since May 2018 now. But Jim's not going to like it, mate. Jim was saying that you're just chasing beta.
He's been giving me hate all day.
So do you think that ETH BTC can go up when the USD pairs go down? So you think we can enter a bear market, but ETH BTC can outperform?
I'm looking at if it, although I'm saying I'm bullish this on the quarterly, my trigger plan is actually if it gets back above May's high. So clean break above that, then FBTC, just look at the chart alone, looks bullish. So I don't know, I think maybe the other two go into a bit of a range. Maybe strength takes over, but FBTC, if it was to clear May 2021's high, I think it definitely is on for 0.1.
How wrecked are we if we close the week below like 0.075?
Well, delete the stream after that. Then back into the range lows, to be honest, probably back towards 0.06-ish.
I think max pain is actually it just stays in that range forever now. just like from 0.06 to 0.08, just up and down, sideways forever, with Udi constantly going on Twitter Spaces to argue that Ethereum is not a scam. Just for the rest of time, it just goes sideways. I think that's the most painful option. No one wins.
I wouldn't like it.
Everyone miserable.
I wouldn't like that at all, Kobe.
No, me neither. I get I just quit, I think. I'd be like, my time's done. I'm done here. It's over now. I can't be bothered anymore. So Abe, what do you primarily trade? Like, are you primarily just trading macro pairs on perps, or where do you spend your time?
I actually only trade BTC and recently started trading a little bit of ETH, but I also trade some legacy markets like oil and gold and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't really trade altcoins. I hold a spot. I also got into crypto in like 2017 before the huge mainstream thing happened for the first time. So I hold some spot just like on different accounts, but I mainly trade futures. Sometimes I trade options as well, but yeah, I'm not really bullish or bearish that much. I hold trades like intra-week, intraday, so I'm not really, making some huge predictions. So
how do you actually trade gold? It's always $1,800.
Well, if you trade futures on like 5-minute time frame and one contract is like $10 per cent, it can kind of add up.
That sounds miserable.
That's a
Yeah,
little bit like what
it's-
trading on OKCoin was like in 2014, 2015. Bitcoin was just $212 the entire time or something. It was agony. But you wrote a big thing not long ago, don't know how long ago it was now, a couple of months ago, about like the reputation of leverage trading within the crypto ecosystem, or maybe within like crypto Twitter. Do you want to give like a very quick summary on your thoughts? I know it's very long and you maybe won't be able to do it justice now.
Yeah, no, I think it's kind of a really different. It was actually a really different thing for me since I came from like legacy futures markets where people don't really care. Like there are some people like ES people who are like constantly bullish on stocks, and Tesla has like a huge fan club. But the bonds, for example, that I used to trade, people don't really care if it's go up or down. They just kind of trade it the way it is. And then I came to crypto, and people, go kind of insane with emotions and how they get attached so easily with things they hold, and they don't realize that it's like completely different approach to the same thing. Like the long-term spot kind of holding, investing, and trading, it's completely two different things from like risk perspective, and basically it's like two different things. And on crypto Twitter in general, people have kind of hard time to find a difference, and everyone loves to kind of argue about things they not always understand completely. So yeah.
Yeah, I think you like gave a reasonably good argument for leverage, but it was a good argument for leverage if you are like reasonably at least mediocre trading, and you can at least slightly manage your risk.
Well, I mean, like day trading and overall like leverage trading is all about managing the risk. That's like the first most important thing. And everyone is like, you trade with 50x leverage, 100x leverage, but the first thing people should always do is managing kind of their downside. So yeah, like I said, it's really a completely different approach, and especially now, since crypto being kind of going only up, it seems like a lot of people just come with this argument that it's much better to just hold spot. Obviously, if I would buy something like Solana at $1, I would way outperform my whole trading, leverage trading this year easily. But it's kind of like if I would buy this and hold it, you never know, and things don't always go up. So yeah.
Fair enough. Do you think there is like a reasonable path for someone that is new to crypto, has never traded anything before, to actually get decent like profitable at day trading within like a 6 months, a year of learning? Do they need to focus on it full time?
I think the fact that I started trading on legacy markets, which are way less volatile and kind of more calmer, was actually better, because crypto can get really crazy. But at least for me personally, when I like learned how to trade, I really took it as kind of like a job thing. I don't know if that makes sense, but I didn't really come to this like I will buy something and I will just hold it and gonna be rich, with that one thing. But I looked at kind of a trading from that is like I will wake up every day at 6 a.m. I will plan for the day, I will trade for a couple of hours, and then journal my trades, go through mistakes I made and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a hard thing to do. It takes a lot of time. It took me, I think, like 2 or 3 years until I got reasonably like profitable and wasn't just losing money. And I still make some stupid mistakes quite often. So yeah, it's not the easy thing, and obviously especially in markets like this, it can be much more, profitable and obviously easier. Just catch something, buy something and hold it. But yeah, this is not how I came to this whole thing. And since I'm kind of good at this thing, I'm just sticking to it more so. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Fair enough. I want to ask about those stupid mistakes in a second, but first, why do you only stick to Bitcoin ETH? Is it liquidity, volatility?
Yeah. It's kind of these are the most liquid, and also crypto is quite a bit correlated together. So if you go long Bitcoin ETH and then other shit coins, and then market will just go down, you will more likely to lose in those 10 positions. And if you do this with leverage and your risk is kind of high, it's not really good. So I'm just trying to stick to one. I even find like when I trade BTC and now ETH at the same time, they are really correlated. So you need to kind of look at it from my perspective, that if I'm long BTC and if I'm long ETH and I'm risking like, let's say 2% from my account, I'm actually risking 4%, because if Bitcoin is going to crash, then ETH is more likely to follow the path as well. So that's kind of a thing with crypto. And overall, like if you trade FX or index futures, or they all these markets kind of move together. So that's why I try to still trade more things and kind of don't take the bets in the same market.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I wonder if there's people listening, but like, risk 2%? What do you mean 2%? What am I going to do risking 2%? I need to make 100x in the next 3 months.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing that really differs from like trading and putting, I don't know, like 25% of your portfolio to spot or something like that.
That just strikes me as the type of trading that you can do where it's very skill-based for understanding price action and the way a market works, that you can trade at any time, but it's a way to spend way more time in a bull market making less money than if you can like identify when you can like hop on some trend and just, not have to work.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's kind of a thing. Like markets don't actually trade that often. Like it seems now that they only go up forever, but usually they are more so kind of range bound. And like I said, like if I bought something like Solana or Avalanche or something else at the start of the year, I would be outperforming myself right now. But yeah, it can seem like you are doing way too much work, but I don't know. I feel like once you kind of get used to it and find kind of a system that it gets quite easier. The most kind of volatile hours during the day, there are like 2 or 3 windows which take like 2 or 3 hours. So it's not like I wake up at 5 a.m. and spend 20 hours watching trading view chart on 1 minute and go to sleep and do it again.
Yeah, that makes sense. And SZ, you trade like way more markets, right? Like you've got some KuCoin coins, and also do like a lot of like level stuff on the majors. But do you like still do crypto only now, or you still do other shit too?
I mean, FX has really died out. So volatility is dead.
Yeah, you post currency pairs quite a lot, don't you?
I used to be I'm mainly. I work for a family fund, so I am mainly FX. But it's just like swing trades. So like I'm able to look at multiple markets, and it doesn't take time to go through them. So I have them running in the background. But mainly, I agree with Adam. I mainly leverage trade Bitcoin, Ethereum now. Obviously, when it's the bull market, so from FX, like you don't get these kind of moves. So it took me a while to adjust. As to I'm missing out on so much of the. It just takes a while, especially from that kind of background. Whereas if you come purely into crypto, you're used to 100x moves. So now I just have my spot plays mainly, and all these kind of shit coins. I'm gonna say, 10 years of FX and then like one Ultron. That just makes me more. So yeah, nowadays it's just mainly day trading Bitcoin, Ethereum. And I've just got my spot bags on all these different shit coins.
Fair enough. You said you do like currency like as and just in the background. Can you tell me if the British pound is just going to go to zero? Because I need to know. I need to know when I need to get some of this like fucking dog shit paper of my own country.
I think personally we're going to come to a low soon. I think the dollar's bigger picture, it goes down. So once that sort of tops out, I think all the FX majors will rally hard. Maybe this month, maybe next month, I don't know. But I think the dollar's top is going to come in soon. That's my opinion.
Dollar
Top isn't
as in the Dixie, or like directly on like a US?
Well, I think overall dollar. I mean, people just call Dixie dollar. I know it's a dollar. It's an index mainly because of euro.
Right.
But I think overall should go down. I think we're coming to a key pivotal area, whether it's here, whether it's a bit higher. But I don't think fundamentally. I think dollar lower. I think a lot of it's been propped up as well because euro's quite strong. It's weak. Sorry. But yeah, I'm quite bearish dollar, big macro picture. But then what's macro picture compared to like, short term? But I think pound low very, very soon in my opinion.
I mentally record my portfolio in ETH, which I then mentally transfer into dollars. So when the pound is like dumping against the dollar, it's great for me because it means in my local currency, like my calculation's wrong. And I'm like, wait, I have more pounds than I thought. This is awesome. But if the low is going to be, and that's going to be very sad for me, it's going to go back the other way. I'm not happy about that. Do you think currencies are just like the currency charts are just measures of incompetence of the relative governments fighting each other?
I just think just the inverse of the dollar. I think dollar's still king. So whatever dollar does, the others will do the inverse of it. But yeah, I mean, what can I say? Just opposite of the dollar. Or take the majors.
Fair enough. And then ISO, you said you've been doing like Avalanche ecosystem stuff and like all these other bags. I know that we have a couple of similar bags. I think they're doing very badly, but we won't mention their names.
Oh, yeah.
That one, yeah. That one's going to fucking zero.
Oh boy.
But yeah, let's not mention their names because it's embarrassing more than anything. But how did you like transition over, and where do you spend most of your time these days?
So I used to leverage trade a lot, and it was great. And I think everyone should kind of go through their own practices to figure out what they like and what they're good at and develop a system around it. And so a lot of what I was doing early on was very chart oriented, similar to kind of SE with ranges, using fibs, the whole idea of liquidity theory, and basically trying to catch bids on those pain points in the market, which worked well, but I was also spending a lot of time on it. And I'm like, if I bought things and held it and I could do other things with my life, it'd probably be more profitable and less stressful, right? So as I said, kind of back in the summer, I started to just dig into lower cap projects where I thought trends were going to start or narratives were being built. And you can kind of just base it on capital flows, right? There was a lot of investment going into the metaverse, like Wilder World, one of them that I talked about, around 50 cents, because I like to connect with teams and figure out like, all right, is this a real project? What's the goal here? What are they trying to achieve? And in the end, you're really investing in people, right? Is this person capable of hitting these milestones? And do I have enough faith in the team for them to do it? And if my thesis is this subsector of crypto is going to be taking off, then I'm going to place bets on high quality projects that I think very similar to how you would do something in equity research where you meet with a management team. They're going to tell you everything, figure out what maybe they're lying about, or if you have enough trust in them, this is how we're going to get from point A to point B. These are the growth initiatives, and this is how we're going to do it. And so I find that to be a lot more self-fulfilling than trading margin positions on a chart, right? One thing about crypto and the success of a lot of these projects is community driven. And the community is where I go first to figure out, okay, is there a core group here that's going to have the ability to snowball this and create a real network effect? And so around some of the gaming tokens I'm in, the first one that I ever actually had a successful trade but did not hold long enough was AXS. because I found out about Axie at 25 cents. And I was like,
Oof.
this makes sense. Crypto and this whole idea of video games and traditional gaming is going to intersect at one point. And if I look at the way people spend their time, especially from a younger generation standpoint, like my nephew, right? He spends his time on Fortnite or Roblox, and like that, the metaverse already kind of exists, right? If you're going into a digital place to hang out with your friends, trade things that aren't actually NFTs, it's only a matter of time before those things become on-chain assets, that there's kind of more clarity around that marketplace. And so crypto gaming made sense to me. AXS, I went into that Discord. I saw how passionate people were about the game. I didn't even think the game was that good. I was like, wow, these people love this cartoon game. And it was like, all right, there's really something here. And then I connected with Jiho very early on. No one knows. I in DMs, and we became very close. And his idea of this digital nation and building Axie like to where it is today, that was all said to me early on. And I was like, there's no way this is going to work. Right. And so when I sold way too early, but
Sorry, I'm just probably just giving you significant regrets. Pulling this chart up.
But a lot of people made money on it who followed me, and like that's awesome because it launched their trading careers and they did really well, right? But I look back on that and I learned a lot from that trade, and I took a lot of those things and I started to apply it to the things that I've invested in recently, like Wilder World, Vulcan Forge. And I saw a lot of similarities, and I have faith in the teams. And so my approach to crypto is like a very fundamentally driven view on a thesis, but then looking into the community and using my platform on Twitter, helping to gain exposure to a product or a project, right? People call it a shill, whatever. You're pumping this, fine. For 4 months, like I tell you when to buy it on the red days, like I have a conviction in the trade. And so that's kind of how I've started to position more around how I trade crypto. It's less stressful. I take longer term views on things, and I have a thesis that I want to see it play out, and it's playing out, and I don't think it's over, because I think this gaming metaverse stuff is a massive hype trade. Don't get me wrong. This is inning one. There's games out there, but then there's going to be 100 other games probably in 2 years, and they're going to be much better, right? So you have to be careful with the way the hype cycle goes. But when you see a lot of institutional interest, like from traditional VCs, like they're not crypto VCs that are getting on Ticket, SoftBank, and Sandbox, their vision is more of, okay, if the digital asset space is going to transform into where everyone's going to be in this metaverse, which inning one of the metaverse, like it's not going to look like Ready Player One in my mind. It's a much more conservative view. Brands want to be in that, and you can see it in Roblox. Like Vans does an installation and they'll have a mini game and they're going to be promoting a new shoe line. So it's kind of like, okay, here's crypto now, and institutional money's coming in here. I think gaming is very relatable because they can look at the total addressable market of traditional gaming and then look at crypto gaming and say over the next 5 years, like this is where the growth is and we want to position around it. And so to sum it up, it's very narrative driven investing style now, less margin trading around charts. I think charts are very important. They help to convey the story, and it's good to have them because you trade around those levels. But I've just kind of transitioned to more of a fundamental narrative-driven trader at this point.
Might be an unfair question, Adam, but do you think the metaverse is a real thing? Because like, you do you do like boring markets and like very serious day trading. So do you think like loads of people running around as like pixelated cartoon animals in a fake game where somehow some money's coming from someone to pay them to do it is a part of our future society?
No, no, actually, I think it can be like huge. I used to play a lot of World of Warcraft and CS:GO, and you have things like skins there in the game. So it's just kind of like a next step for the thing that already has been happening for quite some time, I think. I kind of think that currently a lot of these brands just kind of running with the hype, so it may not be super sustainable. You know, they might kind of fall off by the time, and you know, a lot of these metaverse games looks like kind of like quick cash grabs a little bit, like with graphics, and it's just looking terrible overall.
Yeah, I saw one the other day. They raised did they raise $100 million or something? And they're like, graphics were like taken off
Yeah,
the
and,
stock site or something.
when you look at Steam and you have some like indie games that are really like nice and well made, and then you look at some crypto metaverse game which raised like $50 million, and it looks like kind of like school project someone made in 15 minutes. That's a little bit oversaturated now, but I think that, you know, there is space for it, and with the whole pandemic and how everyone is moving online in last 2 years, you know, that's kind of driving the whole market. Even
COVID accelerated it. in my opinion.
yeah.
Like, you're conditioned now to do video calls and work remotely, and like
if you take a look at like Nasdaq chart, it's just going up, and you know, even that's crazy, but there is like no real reason for it to go down because everyone is just so stuck on the internet now. So
Yeah. So, Isa, I want to ask, how do you position for what you're saying? Like, you know, this is a hype cycle, and yeah, it's the beginning wave, right? Like, Axie is the first big breakout sort of play to earn crypto gaming thing. And the same way that like in 2017, you had this like crypto kitties went insane for a month or however long it was and broke Ethereum, although we've learned that that's not actually that hard. But like, you know, that happened, crypto kitties went nuts and everyone bought all these like really expensive digital cats. And then nowadays, NFTs are really big, but crypto kitties is not necessarily the like market leader or whatever. And you like, one could suggest there may be a similar thing here where like Axis is huge now, but in 4 years it's going to be challenged by you know, maybe traditional gaming companies that are going, all right, this like, let's actually use some of this stuff into our game, and they get challenged by people that can make better, more enjoyable games. Like, how do you position for that while also taking this like narrative trade?
in terms of like exiting the trade, or you're just saying, what do you mean? Like,
yeah, or like both, I guess. Like, do you like exiting these trades, or like how
it's
do
largely
you think
just
about...
driven on like a market cap valuation, nothing super confusing. I mean, a lot of crypto is like surface level investing. I mean, you take a couple like key points to a thesis and you figure out, you know, it could be worth this based on X, Y, and Z happening. And like, if I think that game's going to get a $2.5 billion market cap and the price is going to be $100, then like, boom, you could get a 50% correction off that. And then do you buy it back? Well, you look at how the progress of the project is going. Is there user growth? Are they doing things to take that valuation up? Is there more money coming into that space? Are institutional bids coming, or are they getting ready to do a capital raise potentially? Because, you know, what happens like with Sandbox and Mana and these kind of, I'll just call them blue chip like metaverse gaming things, is you get to a point where like Sandbox almost hit a $30 billion valuation, right? How many users are in it? Not 2 million, and Axie has that on a daily basis, and their market fully diluted valuation, 34 billion. And so is Sandbox overvalued? Yeah, probably. So one way you could look at that is say, all right, there's actually a capital rotation trade within gaming metaverse. And so if there's going to be some money taken off the large caps, right, and people move out kind of on the risk curve, call it, and start to look at low and mid caps, those games can go up a lot, and there can be a close in the valuation essentially on a catch-up trade. So that's how I also look at kind of the space in general, but largely around exits, it's simply just a market cap valuation.
Isn't that what helped propel Axie so much?
Sorry,
like Axie's, you know, people were like me, you know, middle curving, just talking about how much it's up, but then they were talking about relative to protocol revenue and stuff. It actually was trading at a value pretty much the whole way up because of all the onboarding of users and activity that was occurring. And that what kind of just kept spurring it further ahead?
Yeah, it was marketplace revenues from people trading axes and the land, as well as if more people are playing the game, then the value of the game is going to go up. User growth is one of the most important things in the gaming space. And so
like every week people are just like, there's this many more hundreds of thousands of users on Axes and this is their protocol revenue. And, you know, you're mad because your shorts are underwater, but it's, you know, still like a relative value based on how many people are onboarding to this thing, or, you know, gaming farms are onboarding, whichever way you look at it, still somebody.
Yeah. And and because people were like, oh, we're making money playing video games. Video games have transcended from like a hobby to, or like, that's a waste of time, to a hobby, now to actually professional industry with esports, and then play to earn. And people are like, this is not a waste of time. This is actually a way for me to prove, not the quality of life, but make money on the side. And it brings up the question is play to earn really something about people wanting to play the game, or is it about making money, right? And so that's something that I think the industry's still trying to figure out. Like, is Axie that fun to where you want to play it that much, or you're just stacking your smooth love potion and selling that and buying, you know, all sorts of fancy things for yourself?
Wait, what is? But it does give what is smooth love potion?
It's SLP. It's the Axis token that only goes down.
Oh, okay.
It's an infinite supply, so you know, like people are making it. People are selling it to monetize.
Smooth love potion.
Yeah,
they're like a marketing meeting about how to name this well.
Yeah, but it's very impressive what they've done. I can't believe you didn't know about this.
God, I don't know any of this crap.
See, all the information's there. You just got to dig in. You know,
yeah.
If someone was following Axie and seeing the DApp radar stats and looking at how many users were coming on that game on like a daily basis, what the treasury is worth, it's like, okay, yes, this thing may keep going up. People will still try to short it for no reason.
Yeah, I didn't try to short it.
It's making money.
I didn't try
to
short
it. Not saying you,
no,
just in general.
But to that point though, I'm just the person that's looking at it going from, you know, this range where, you know, you have plenty of time to buy it under $1, for instance, and then you just watch it grind higher into $10. And somewhere in here, I definitely have a tweet that's like, "Congrats, Axie people, you did well, but it's over now." You know what I mean? I know I have that tweet.
Yeah,
and then I was right for a minute.
That's
3 weeks.
That's the thing. I think, you know, one of the early investors was Defiance, wasn't it? And they were like, this is like 1,000x and 1,000x trade or whatever it was in there. And it's very hard to hold 1,000x trade, first of all. And the trade evolves over time to where maybe you thought it was 20, maybe you thought it was 50, 100x. But now they do all these things. I don't need to sell it if I think the thesis is intact and I think the growth is still there. And people short things just because they're like, oh, it's gone up too much. Fine. Well, I mean, but it's going up for a reason. And so really understanding why projects take on a life of their own and do things like that is like getting in the weeds, understanding what it is they're trying to achieve and how powerful the community is. There's an Axie army that like you just don't want to really fight against at that one point when it was going parabolic. So
does anyone know why people is buying the smooth love potion? Like
why?
What? Who's the counterparty in this chart? Who's the person going, I think it's the bottom?
Oh, I was there. I was like, oh man, they could be changing something around the tokenomics or whatever. And I mean, Axie launched Katana decks, right? And so one of the incentives that they created, but I thought SLP was going to go up, was you can basically be an LP, either Axie, AXS, or Smooth Love Potion, and that yields you Ronin. And Ronin is basically a new token that's going to be the gas for that DEX. And it's smart because like much lower fees, they're bringing the whole ecosystem into their they're creating that whole ecosystem with Sky Mavis. And I think the longer term vision is for Axie and Sky Mavis to be almost like developer economy, so where people can start to build mini games within that, similar to like kind of the Roblox approach too. So there's still a lot of interesting things going on, and if they keep going up, then the token can keep going up. Like it's got the most of any game. So now you have everyone trying to play catch up and coined as like, what's the next Axie? Well, that's going to take some time to figure out. So
Axie is the next Axie.
yeah.
Oh, Ledger's just top taxi. All right, Ledger, can you change the chart to like the Bitcoin chart or the ETH chart or something, please?
Yeah, I
can't look at the smooth love potion anymore.
I was just still coping over Axies. It went up from the price that you were saying that you first got into it. So it went up like 69,000% to today's price, not even the top.
We won't talk about that. I have friends who are like, yeah, I bought a house. Thanks. I'm like, should have held.
Yeah, cool. I love that for you.
Yeah.
All right. So we got Bitcoin chart. It looks a little bit like does it look like the Welsh flag? I forgot what the Welsh flag looks like now. It looks a little bit like a dragon or something, or maybe a camel. Adam, SZ, ISO, what are your thoughts? What does this chart make you feel?
Not super bullish, but
I will let Ezzy do this one. I was gone for a week, so I didn't actually look that much this charts.
Okay,
I feel like
But I'm long now, so
I feel like we're running the wrong time frame for these guys. Like I need to go to the 5 minute or
you
something.
put on a daily. What is that? A daily?
Yeah, I was on a daily or weekly or something. Here's a 5 minute. Does that make you feel better?
It makes me feel stressed.
Yeah, I don't really look at much below an hourly chart anymore, but we'll go back to the daily. So it's just chop, right?
It's just chop.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just waiting now. I'm either scalping this little range or break above 60K. We go to about 62 to 65. Break below, or I'm looking for a breakdown towards 52. See if it reclaims back above 52.5, then I'm long. Other than that, I'm just waiting. I haven't traded this much. Just tough read. Just such chop. Not much I can do personally.
yeah, I had this amazing idea when I came back 2 days ago to buy some move contracts on FTX. So since it's been ranging a lot, I was kind of hoping that it will move quickly, but yeah, it wasn't the best idea. So I'm just losing money on the time decay. That one, it's expiring tomorrow, so I'm hoping it will go somewhere at least. But
The moment it expires, it's just going to go.
yeah, it's going to be like the most volatile weekend after that Friday close. And
Do the move contracts, are those the FTX ones?
yeah,
Did those expire the same time as the Deribit options contracts?
the weekly ones expire on Friday at close, which is midnight UTC. I'm not exactly sure when the Deribit ones expire.
They're always at like 2 a.m. my time. It's a weird time. It's like 8 a.m. on Fridays, like GTC or UTC, whatever it is called.
These should be midnight, but I'm not.
So they're
100% sure
they're
now.
offset a bit, but they're within the same kind of general time period.
Yeah.
Deribit banned me the other day. Got
Really?
banned.
For what?
Yeah.
For being British?
I don't know. They said my identity was fake. I'm like, what? They're like, can you confirm your identity? So I sent them the documents again, and they were like, that's not real. And I was like,
Okay.
nice, thanks, Deribit.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I now don't get to hear the bonk sound anymore when you make trades. Fully banned. I feel like this chart makes me feel a little bit uncomfy, to be honest. Makes me feel a bit anxious. I think the like mood in the market is a little bit of anxiety as well at the moment. I think ISO was saying earlier, it looks a little bit like the structure when it was at 40K and like was basically the bottom. And like I hope so, but I just feel a little bit nervous, like uneasy. And normally when I feel like that, it's because I've just like my position's too big. Like what if it goes down?
Too long.
Yeah, I like not sufficiently hedged like at all. But it feels like the general sentiment is like a little bit of like worry or something at the moment. Don't know what everyone else thinks.
I think there's a psychological reason why that's so. Like most people have been long all year, or back to 2020, and they've made a lot of money and they want to preserve it. And now you're hitting this like calendar year shift, and people are afraid like that it's all going to die, and they need to go preserve their new wealth. So I don't know. Maybe that means that there is time for potential upside still. But
I think we're going up.
All right.
What does the ETH chart look like? The same chart but for Ethereum? Because it felt a little bit for a couple of days like Ethereum was trying to drag everything up.
Yeah.
But then Luna just went turbo and went like 70% in dates.
Yeah, none of them all go up at once. I mean, the L1s like Luna, AVAX, Sol, the rotations, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, this one, that your time to shine now. But ETH, I mean, if it's, I don't know. Do you guys use moving averages at all? I use them as a gauge for trend. I know
Nigel loves them.
Hello. That's what we are rolling with right here.
So I use the 50, the 100, 200, right? Super basic, and we're above the 50A moving average on ETH. So I learned a bit about the Ichimoku cloud from Zoran, and like that's a trending indicator. We're above both the Tenkan and Kijun. So like it's a trending market still for me. I think people just get anxious during these chop times, but ETH, it doesn't like look that bearish to me. And ETH BTC, yes, maybe that's an SFP, whatever you want to call it, but like that's a 200-day range, essentially that's been in. There was an impulse over some nice diagonals. I mean, looks like a breakout, a retest, and it's going to go higher. That's my opinion about it.
ETH does look a lot better than Bitcoin does. It makes you wonder if sailors made Bitcoin super uncool. I read something.
That guy is very radical. But yeah.
I don't know if I got a load of admiration for him or if I'm just scared of him. Maybe it's both. But I read something by Paul Butler called "Betting Against Bitcoin," who was written in October, I think. And he was like basically saying he's in a short position from October 26th. All right, did he win? When was October 26th? The price was, so the price was 63K. All right, so his short's doing all right. And he wrote this like betting against Bitcoin short position thesis, which was like the mining economics are bad, the network sustainability, the environmental cost, the like technology is legacy, like some tether truther stuff in there as well. Parts of it was just like easily debunked and like not a problem. Some parts of it were like an interesting way of seeing like some things. And then there's one section of this like short Bitcoin article, which is called Cringe. And he basically says like this part is subjective. Bitcoin culture has become cringe, even within like crypto culture. It's cringe. Like originally it was this like, there was a lot of mystery in it and a bit of danger because like Satoshi is like unknown and then the Silk Road. So even if it wasn't a status symbol, it was at least a conversation starter. And in equities, you can like buy boring equities, and it doesn't matter if they're unfashionable because they've got a dividend and all this shit. And then he's like, today, like Bitcoin culture within crypto culture is just like weird and cringe. And he was like linking to like tweets from Saylor, Saylor's tweet where he says, what is it? The Bitcoin is a swarm of cyber hornets serving the goddess of wisdom, feeding the fire of truth, exponentially growing ever smarter, faster, and stronger behind a wall of encrypted energy. Like stuff like this.
Did you watch this Tucker Carlson interview?
Michael Saylor did a Tucker Carlson interview?
Yeah.
Yeah. He talks about the law of thermodynamics or something. And like Bitcoin is thermodynamic money or something like that. But it was like there's this weird whiff of desperation in the laser eye sort of community, which I thought actually was a pretty reasonable subjective take for someone that's like clearly not a crypto person. I was like, maybe Bitcoin is just like not cool now. It's like you imagine the laser eyes and you imagine Sailor saying shit that don't make sense.
The boomer coin, right?
Maybe. I don't know. Sometimes when you get these narratives like this, like a boomer coin, everyone accepts that narrative is true and everyone gets so anti something. I just think, well, maybe it's under-owned and can move. And like maybe that's like time to be contrarian or something like that. But I don't know.
Do you know the epsilon theory guy? He's had a lot to say over recent years, but he critiqued Bitcoin, basically saying that they have a chance of really screwing themselves as, you know, Bitcoin culture people if they too heavily embrace the "we're gold." Yeah, it's Ben Hunt. Thank you, Jay, in the chat. And basically it was saying like you have this opportunity to be so much more, but if you go the pure, it's a store value, whatever, hodl, stack sats, you're gonna pigeonhole yourselves into what
You're gonna pigeon yourself.
don't get pigeoned, man. And pigeonhole yourself into, you know, the same corner that Goldbugs did, where you're just like constant doomer mindset, and you kind of lose this change the world vision, and instead you just like hoard your sats and you don't end up accomplishing near as much as you had the potential to accomplish. And I wonder if maybe Ethereum picked up on some of that, because Ethereum somehow managed to do both, maybe not well because fees are so high, but like the, you know, the economics of, you know, 1559 burning coins and making it fun to hold, but also there's a stronger willingness for people to spend their Ethereum. Like people spend Ethereum all the time, whether it's on JPEGs or other things. And it just seems like it's a cultural element. It's not necessarily because of the token itself. It's just the culture within the Ethereum world is that you use Ethereum for stuff. Whereas within Bitcoin, it's like you don't. Like using your Bitcoin is stupid, you know?
Yeah, I think I'm philosophically against EIP 1559, but like economically favorable. Like I like it, like makes it more scarce and therefore like potentially more valuable. But I think I think it's like a weird thing now. I didn't really think about that much before because I was just like supply down good. No, yeah. I'm like, it's actually kind of strange that the purpose of this thing is just to like get rid of it. I think it's a bit weird, and it's this weird thing that's just designed to make current holders richer. It's a bit philosophically weird. I am a current holder, so I'm like, great, but also I'm like, is that a bit dark? Is that a bit strange? I'm not sure about it.
What do you think, ISO?
In terms of my view is like, I don't think it really is a really good use of time being a maxi on anything. I mean, so in terms of Bitcoin, right? Like I used to only think Bitcoin was the thing to own and like altcoins are crap, right? And being able to adapt in a market is going to make you a better trader, investor. You're going to see other sides of the lens, right? So for me, the whole idea of like Bitcoin is the only thing that can exist is like, you can't have an asset class with one asset. So all of these things, you know, whatever your belief is, like there's a space in it for crypto. Being that vocal and, you know, adamant about your ideas and saying like you should only stack sats and, you know, whatever, or stack ETH, like it's not healthy. And so I think owning Bitcoin is smart. I think owning Ethereum is smart. I think there's better returns elsewhere because, I mean, this thing has gone from $1 to freaking like almost 70K, right? Like the market is maturing, right? And so you're probably going to get less volatility in these things. And so it might not move up as fast as people think, which I think is happening with Bitcoin. And so like a lot of this that's going on, I don't think it's necessarily unhealthy for the market or it's bearish. It's just kind of the maturation of the asset like itself. And so ETH like doesn't really move that much either. I mean, it's kind of like chopping around too, but those L1s rip, right? And so like opportunity on bigger returns, people come to crypto for the X's, right? So it's like, well, am I going to get that with Bitcoin and Ethereum here? Or am I going to buy Solana, AVAX, Luna, or, you know, look at some other subsectors of crypto? I think Ethereum is really expensive too, and it's like priced out retail. it's so like, it doesn't make that much sense to me, but it exists and it's not going away. And like, it's pretty much like becoming a store of value in a sense, similar to Bitcoin, right? So
I think that makes sense. And I do agree that like being maxi anything, like I think it's just lazy after a certain point. It just is a crutch that means you don't have to think about stuff. And anything like that in life generally is not the way to become smarter or make better decisions. I want to talk a little bit about like macro stuff, especially going into next year. There's been, people from the Fed maybe psyopsing, saying, well, if inflation's going to go, if inflation's not transitory, which they're now starting to admit, we're going to have to do rate rises like sooner than we expected. Are they bullshitting us? Do you think this is going to do you think this is going to happen? What's the general outlook? Is it deflation time?
Are any of y'all macro people in terms of like using that as an input on your trading?
If not, Ledger, it's you've got to answer.
Yeah. You made me.
Yeah, not me. I'm not really watching these things.
At the moment, I'm probably just level to level trading. None of it makes sense to me at this current stage.
Yeah, it's like
play the chart.
Same thing as being maxi. It's same like watching all Fed speeches and stuff like that. It's like kind of waste of time at one point. So I'm not really looking at these things.
Yeah.
Ledger, how have you been wasting your time these days?
How have I been wasting my time? Yeah. I mean, you like to figure out ways to justify your positioning. So when the price action fails to do it, you can lean back on the macro and let that help you. I do think it plays a role. The Fed stuff, it has huge impacts on the intraday stuff. Like when Jay Powell is speaking, every single market reacts in real time. And then it kind of resolves itself. What's happened every time so far is even when they talk about tightening, they word everything in a way to try to have the least amount of impact on the market as possible. And then you kind of fall back on whatever the much broader trend is. The much broader trend is we're putting much more money into the system. There's more of a culture of kind of maintaining handouts in terms of people getting checks for various things to get through hard times with the pandemic stuff. And it seems like once you start that, it's really hard to do away with it. Like that's always been the case. The same way defense works, like once you start spending money on the war machine, you keep spending money on the war machine. Once you start spending money on the space race, you continue spending money on the space race. And it's hard to roll that back. The question is like, I was listening to a podcast where someone was basically saying by the time everyone's saying it, it's probably priced in. So so they condition the market with the language, right? And so if you're being a reactionary trader on stuff like that, you're not really ahead of it. And so like they scare the market and like people got scared and it ripped back up. It's like, okay, well, now what? Even on
the Omicron thing and the whole COVID thing, like that being an overhang, which doesn't seem like it's going away really ever. That's something we have to live with. Like that's just a permanent risk now in the market, where like it could just continually like push out the tapering because money needs to be printed basically to help, right? So it's there's a lot of cross currents in the market. It's really hard to trade, but I think people are just super emotional and schizo around that stuff. And ultimately, like the reason you have these minutes in the Fed talking is because they're conditioning the market to what's coming. So like, I don't think you just get a bomb dropped on you, like in terms of some sort of change in language. And I think the investor community, smart investor community knows that too.
They like to be really soft with the impact that they have on the market. So like what you talked about there with how you even use the word inflation, as people start to realize it, it's certainly in their interest to have less impact on the market, to basically say, we don't see signs of it, but you're using the word inflation while saying you don't see signs of it. And then you say you're starting to see transitory inflation, but you already know it's higher, but you're just softening the blow at all times. And then that way by the
The
time
language is like people dissect that language like all the time, right?
Yeah, right. But what's much more important is when you have stuff that truly has a massive impact, you start to see the liquidity effects, and that's what really happened when we went down so much. The first time, like COVID was known about while we were making highs back here. It was when it was like they went from saying, we don't think it's in America, or we don't think it's in the UK. Like this is just the the thing that East Asia is dealing with, like to a small degree. And then they're like, oh, it's probably been here for a while. We need to lock down, rush to get toilet paper. That panic induced this kind of forced selling, not because people necessarily thought that was going to be the impact on the economy or whatever, but like it just forced people out. It forced people to sell as a huge liquidity event that then became really, really difficult to stop. So I think when they're training the market with the verbiage that they use, they're trying to prevent these types of events. They don't necessarily care if we spend a lot of time doing this stuff, like they're just trying to prevent the shocks. And now I think what you deal with is PTSD. Literally any down week, it's like we're going to have another March 2020. And the likelihood is you're just not. Like you're not going to have something that's that severe. You'll probably have, even if you have a downtrend, a more sustained, like slower downtrend, as there's money that comes in, because one of the things you run into as well is like, where are you going to put money? Like if you don't believe the dollar is going to have a lot of strength, if you do believe in sustained inflation, you're going to put those dollars to work somewhere. And if it's secular inflation, but not hyperinflation, which is something people mix up a ton, then you want to put those dollars to work. Like hyperinflation is just damaging to all things. But secular inflation is just a part of the economy. It's just a different tenure for a different phase of the economy to live in. And it's not like stocks are a terrible thing to be in that, or Bitcoin or whatever else. Kobe, is that sufficiently boring?
I tuned out a little bit, actually. I was reading about the Badger hack, so yes.
I'm glad I could be of service.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. I did listen. Something about the church having inflation as well. Someone in the chat keeps spamming it. They were saying Adam has got some Bitcoin edge that they spoke about in DMs that he may be willing to reveal, but it might not be. It might be a secret.
All right.
I don't know about it. I'm not actually looking at the chat, so that's
All it said is like, ask Adam about the Bitcoin edge. I spoke about it in DMs. He might share it.
The chat's telling me that I probably topped the S&P. Like I might. That would
be quite legendary.
We're very powerful in the show, so I won't discount it. Like the market needs to go down at sometimes, but this is a monthly chart. If you're talking about moving averages, I really like the
50-day moving average S&P bounced before the 100.
Yeah,
and it was a 6% correction off like the high. Like, okay, what do you want? 10%? I mean, probably trades back up, in my opinion.
Right. And it's like you could get this is a 20-month moving average, but same point. You return to the mean is the point with these, and it always happens, which is why Kobe hates them. But the point is, when you get far enough away from the mean, it gives you more certainty that you're going to return to it. And we're 20% away from it right now on that particular time frame, particular moving average, and you do always come back to them. Whether that means the momentum of the market slows and the moving average catches up, or the price goes down to hit the moving average, one of the two is going to happen. And when price gets too far away from those average trends, then it just means that it's a little overheated. Somebody had a tunnel situation there. And eventually it's okay for a market to go down a little bit, but that's the one risk I think you run right now is like people are truly accustomed to up-only markets in legacy. And it's not like if you have a 10 or 20% correction, it's the end of the world, or it means that we're going to have a depression. It just means the market's in a correction phase. That's not the end of the world.
I think what can be even worse for a lot of people if it just goes sideways for a long time, because then a lot of people will just lose interest. That, like you have a lot of retail traders now. So instead of just like some crazy correction in the S&P, you might just hit like few years of sideways, which will, turn off a lot of people.
Yeah.
Before anything like bigger happens.
It's true. There is a lot of retail traders now, and it's basically the first time ever, right? First time in history because of the internet and
meme economy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all have to get wrecked. Like GME people, even when you look at the Tesla chart, like nobody looks at Tesla in terms of a fundamental value and thinks it's a value stock or anything. Literally nobody. But it doesn't mean it has to go to zero. It did that back in 2013. Like it touched the same price in 2013, went into some range, and then bounced off of it in 2019. So it spent 6 years in a range relative to the same price. So what if it does that again? Like what if Tesla is $1,000 in 2028?
Imagine like what do people talk about on their podcasts in that time? So it's sideways again. It's fucking still sideways. It's the same price it was for the last 5 years. They've made a new car.
Yeah.
That's so boring. 6 years of sideways. That's so boring.
Well, people bears and bulls both got wrecked that whole time. Like people were basically saying after this, it was like, well, Tesla's going to go to zero. They're going to go out of business. And then after 6 years of it, it breaks up and it does the, opposite. It just becomes hyper overvalued again. So it's like bears will probably try to short it the whole time. And like it might have these 20% corrections, but it's probably not going to zero,
Someone in chat just said, every chart Ledger shows on this show, the top is in. It is known. Right. Just pull some more up. So when I started the stream, I tweeted that we were going to give our opinion on Flocky. Is it pronounced Flocky?
I thought
Flocky. And it has been picked up by the Flocky community, and they also actually think you're Ashton Kutcher. So there's loads of like tweets saying Ashton Kutcher's like tagging him is discussing Flocky on this fucking stream.
Oh, God.
Anyway, let's just pretend it's true. Ashton, what's your opinion on Flocky?
What is Flocky?
I don't even know what it is, man. Is it a dog coin?
It's a dog coin.
Is it Elon's dog or something?
Named after Elon's dog, yeah.
Look at all these different ones. There's Flocky Musk.
I don't know how to play meme. I don't know how to play the meme dog coins.
Flocky Pink, Flocky Babes, Flocky Final Score, Flockit, Flocky Inu, Baby Flocky Pup. How many Flocky Shiba? Wow. There's meme coins for you. Let's go look at the one that's on Poloniex.
When do people buy cat coins? They're like the most popular.
2014.
There was cat coin trade?
2014, cat coins were the trade, yeah.
Looks bullish.
That sounds like a good time for it again.
There was also a coin. The worst one was named after Grumpy Cat, I think. Do you remember Grumpy Cat?
Oh yeah.
The cat's dead now.
Yeah.
It was named after Grumpy Cat, and it was like a 1 Satoshi coin. It was like 1 sat. And the 1 sat coins were fun to trade because there were just huge blocks of bids. It was like
at 1 sat.
Huge block, yeah, 1, and then like a big sell wall at 2. And if you took that out, then it was like everyone was up like 50% or 33% or whatever. And like Grumpy or Grump, whatever it was called, managed to get to like 5, and then the developer like had like 80% additional supply that was like unannounced, hidden somewhere. It's just like put it all in the market. Did not play the long con. It was a fast rug.
You know what Cryptopia used to do? If something stayed at 1 sat for too long,
Litecoin market.
They had Litecoin markets.
Yeah, that's fully wrecked. That's fully wrecked. It can't go any lower. It can.
It can,
yeah.
it
can go lower.
Shift the volume to the Litecoin markets.
Yeah, that was true pain when you had something that moved to a Litecoin market. Didn't they have a third pair of Ripple markets too?
I don't know. There were Doge markets. There were Doge
markets. Yeah, that was it. That was true pain.
You remember Crypto Macho? Like the Mexican guy?
No. Oh yeah. He's still around, right?
Yeah, he's still around. I think I'm.
His tweets are like illegible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great guy. But he would chill these like absolute scams on Cryptopia. And one time I was like, I might actually buy this at 1 sat at support. And that's when I learned about the Litecoin markets, because it turned out 1 sat was not support.
Oh dear. Those are bad times in general. I think those are the bad days, rather than the good old days. They were just terrible. SC, can you give us some bearish propaganda?
Bearish propaganda. What do you want to say?
Because last time someone came on the show and gave bearish propaganda, everything tripled. So
Okay, let's go for it. Short. I don't know. As long as we say below 60k, 52 next, I think. I just really have no idea here, to be honest. I mean, I love posting this
You
bearish.
think we go to 52?
52 next, I think. As long as it's stay below 60. But honestly,
you can't reclaim the 60, basically.
yeah. But I still have no clue, so I'm just making that up right now.
You know what? You know what 60k is? The
What is
50-day
it?
moving average.
Oh.
They're helpful because we bounced off the 100 nicely. So maybe we come back down and test it. Maybe you get your 52. I don't know.
52 would be reasonable.
Too many people want it, I feel like.
52 would be reasonable. It could get 52 and still look totally fine, I think. I don't know if it's going to make it there. Who knows? But if it does, it's not the end of the world. If it just fucking a mega nukes, then the chart will look completely awful. But if it's just some kind of rounded bottom at 52, I'm fine with that. I'm happy with it. That'd be fine.
Well, can we do it at the same time that ETH is 7,000? That'd make it better.
Why do you have
actually
7?
do it
Why do you
until
have
tomorrow
7,000?
close, so my move contract will not expire?
Everybody just share what your personal max pain is.
What is your personal max pain, Ledger? What's yours?
Mine?
Yeah.
Zcash under 200 again. How about that?
Didn't it fully retrace the Barry pump?
Yeah. It was we bought $85 million worth, and then it went way up. I don't know if that was their buy or the news because of their buy. And then I think people collectively were like, well, now who's going to buy? And it just retraced the whole thing. So I don't know. Get yourself together, Barry. Are you going to be a true Chad, or are you just going to let Sam stomp all over you with his pheromones and dominance? So
Pheromones?
his pheromones.
What do you mean?
I don't know. His appeal, his market moving capacity. A Sam coin is multiples better than a Barry coin right now. So
That's so true. Barry coins are cursed.
Barry coins.
Maybe sometimes I just think he's
What do you
joking.
mean? He owned Barry from Grayscale?
Yeah.
Are you guys there?
I'm here. Kobe got wrecked. I don't know. Kobe, you back?
Oh.
I'm still here.
Oh.
Wait.
Okay.
What about his mana? His mana coin's doing pretty well.
Yeah, but that's not the one I'm in.
Why do you want to buy Zcash?
Because I like trying to snipe dumb bottoms. I don't know. I want to.
But is there a reason? Do you have a reason to buy Zcash outside of the chart? Because I tried to buy FLT on the chart.
4 years.
Yeah. Is it really 4 years? I didn't do enough research. I just aped it.
Yeah, it's I think it's a three or 4 year transition to proof of stake.
Oh, jeez.
Wow, you really didn't look at all.
No.
Oh god.
I just need it to go to 2K, okay, Kobe?
I think that you just take trading positions to feel something.
I do.
That's so part of the metaverse thing is Grayscale probably has a metaverse fund. Is my thought too, because they're in those plays.
Are they only in Mana though, or are they in another one?
They're in Wilder World.
Wilder.
DCG.
Don't know what that is. No idea what. Sounds like a thing that's real. Not going to question it.
Barry, just come on the show and defend yourself, okay? How about that?
I asked him. He said no. He said he's not doing any press. I was like, I don't think this counts as press.
We're just going to complain. We're just going to ask, when moon, sir, please.
Yeah. Do you reckon they'll IPO soon?
I haven't thought about it. Sure. Why not?
I hope so. Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, chat. What do we need to talk about, chat? We've been streaming for an hour and a half already. Glad you didn't sell the Barry pump.
I didn't sell the berry pump.
What, Ledger? What do you reckon? Barry meant when he said it's going to be a big week and then nothing happened.
I don't know. I have.
You ever watch your best guess? What's your best guess?
I think it's
Maybe it was about something in his personal life.
yeah, his sister was having a baby, and
it's gonna be a big week.
He's gonna be an uncle.
You just sent a tweet early.
No, I think his day to day is probably around like Grayscale products and institutional people, where he knows like kind of people that are getting allocations or something, and he kind of gets a hint of what's happening there, and then like it doesn't matter, or the news never comes out or something. That's my guess. I don't know. They need to fix their products. Like Grayscale products are screwed until they convert to the ETF, and they need to fix the 2% fee is messing with it, and the lack of ability to redeem GBTC makes it to where it's a very undesirable product to own. So they got some issues on that side of things, but not that it's that important considering he still makes money hand over fist.
Yeah, I'm sure he's fine. Is Crypto ISO looking at a new narrative? Or like, I guess I can extend on, oh God, what are they called? Kypsey's question to be like, how do you evaluate how these narratives are going to pick up? Like, how do you go, oh, this one's going to work?
I mean, what's like the starting point, essentially?
Yeah, like how do you know, like, you know, because sometimes a narrative like picks up, but it fizzles out and dies instantly, and it like never really materializes into like a price appreciation of the asset.
That's a good point, right? Like that's part of staying in a trade and watching your thesis play out. So like Wilder World had a lot of investment coming in from VCs, DCG being like the first one. And so during the bear, there was like 6 different capital raises that they did. And so it's like, all right, well, these guys are placing their bet over here, and they're continually raising more money and getting more eyes on them from an institutional standpoint. And they had a roadmap that went out to December, and they hit the milestones. They kept hitting the milestones. And so the narrative at first was, yeah, I think this can work based on this. And then as it just kept improving and the team was delivering, then I realized that it had a lot more legs. When Facebook changed their name to Meta, that was like when the whole match was lit, and you could really see that it was a strong trend. And it wasn't something that I was factoring into my thesis at all. And there's some things like that that happen that you see your trade kick into like a new gear. So new stuff that I'm looking at right now, I tweeted about it last night, actually, which is it's new layer 1. We'll call it that. But it's very easy to see where capital rotation can come from just if you look at where the money is flowing, right? So AVAX, they launched a $230 million incentive program, and Blue Chip DeFi signaled that they were going to move over there. What does that do? Well, it takes a lot of money. People come over to your protocol, they start farming, your TVL goes up, the interest is there, your users grow up. We saw it similar with even like Phantom. I mean, they did it too. The question is how sticky is it going to be, right? Because at some point, people are going to stop going, oh, I'm going to go to this chain, this chain, this chain. Like you find an ecosystem and you like it because it works. And so I think AVAX has become very sticky. I think that they did a good job garnering the institutional interest with that DeFi move. But I actually think the next wave is kind of maybe gaming on AVAX. It's fast, it's cheap. Solana, I've always kind of pegged as like this more NFT gaming type protocol. And I never thought AVAX could go that route. And so that's kind of something that I'm looking at as the next wave. And then Near protocol, right? If you paid attention to the news, there's an $800 million ecosystem fund dedicated to Near protocol. that's not an incentive program. That's something that says we want to come over here and develop. And, part of the success of crypto is surrounding yourself with smart people, right? I work with 2 other guys because I can't actually take in all the information at once, right? So we all have our swim lanes. We all look at different projects, like gaming metaverse has been mine, but I have someone on my team, let's call it that, that is looking at the AVAX ecosystem, and he's farming over there, and he's doing all of, and then another guy looking at new opportunities. So Near is something that I'm looking at because I know that there's almost $1 billion of development going to happen on that protocol. And if you look at what happened with AVAX, like people who positioned around the incentive program, knowing money was flowing over there, and you start buying, basically just pick out, okay, what's the DEX? What is this on Solana that's going to be on AVAX? So what is Trader Joe on Near? Okay, well, maybe it's Trisolaris, right? And so getting in there early, farming the assets, positioning yourself to where your thesis, if it does come true and the money moves over there, you're positioned and you're just going to sit there, right? And so I think capital flows and funding around new projects and protocols, if you pick up on that early, that money's going to have to go to work somewhere. So maybe there's going to be a lot of development there. It's a very simple, like surface-based analysis.
I think you can do simple because like the crypto markets just aren't that smart.
Yeah.
But Near is definitely one of those ones too, where you see it on a lot of VC websites or whatever, but you haven't seen it in the narrative. So it probably means it's going to have its moment at some point. Again, to
whether it becomes sticky and people really want to stay there and use it is another thing. But there's a trade in that alone, in my opinion. So.
Yeah. So most of the chat's trying to shill their own layer 1 or some other bag to support this narrative. But Shermie in the chat said the layer 1 narrative is on cooldown, and just as a point of fact. So Kobe, I would like you to take the point of Shermie and give that backing. Do you think they're right?
Oh, it means it's on cooldown, like it's over.
Yeah.
What does it mean?
Yeah, I think they mean it's over.
But Luna went up 70% 2 days ago.
Yeah. What does over mean? That's like 0?
Maybe like on a relative basis.
I mean, maybe. But people have been saying that for ages, haven't they? They said it when Solana topped. Like when Solana went on the big run before everything else broke out. Every time Avalanche or Solana or Luna tops, the money rotates to another one out of those 3. It just goes around in a circle, and everyone goes, "That's it. The layer 1 trade's over." So like Tezos is down.
Sol Leaf looks just like ETH-BTC.
Yeah. And so I don't know. Like, there's been a few times where I've mid-IQ'd it and been like, "Yeah, the layer 1 trade is over. Like, it has to be over now." But it like maybe it's the max pain this cycle is like, the things that go up just don't stop going up. Like you can't do the mimetic counter bubble trade of that you could do in 2017, 2018 as easily, because there's more like money and attention onto these things, and there's like actual people using them and actual people bidding them. The thing is, when you have like Solana, you've got Alameda, FTX just constantly bidding it. Like maybe Sam's just putting a few percentage points of the FTX profits into Solana. It always gets fucking turbo bid. And you're like, maybe, are they going to stop doing that? Or are they going to do that forever? And then with Avalanche, you have like, Sue rage pumping it because he's like, says Ethereum's abandoned their children or whatever. And like, so he's like rage pumping it, and they're going to continue doing that because they've got a massive incentive to bid that versus bidding everything else, and all these assets are like very reflexive. So if these things go up, people bid them as well. So like all the layer 1s, where there's just like a deca billionaire fund that's like babysitting the chart, I'm like, yeah, maybe the trade can cool down at some point, and like there's a big like flood back to value or something. But I'm not going to like fade any of those people. I'm not going to short their assets or whatever. I'll just, at worst, I'll ignore them and get salty about it.
Yeah. I'm certainly not saying like go short it on a relative basis. I don't know. At what point At what point are the people in those trades happy? You know, or Solana is an interesting one because there's already the unlocks are happening in Solana, like the secondary unlocks, not those ones from the famous unlocks.
I can give you some unlock alpha if you want.
Give us some unlock alpha.
People always like get so stressed about unlocks, right? And it's very weird because unlocks, people always say like the FDV is a meme, right? And that unlocks are like, they made this like bullish unlocks meme and stuff like that. And unlocks can be very, very different. You can have a bullish unlock and you can have a very bearish unlock. And if you're just looking from the outside, it's difficult to tell how it's like what it's going to be. And like, what is a bullish unlock? I think a bullish unlock is when people are frightened of an unlock, the unlock happens and there's no dumping because what's happened in the background is loads of like all these people who are going to sell they've already changed, the coins have already changed hands. Like locked coins can be sold OTC like with a trust-based system. So let's say you're like a fund A and you bought Solana in the seed round, you were allowed into the seed round and you bought and you're like fucking 10,000% up or something. But you're scared of this unlock and you want some liquidity in, maybe you want to chase Ethereum instead, you want to chase a Bitcoin pump. You can sell your locked position for a discount to like 3AC. 3AC bought up loads of these like SAFTs or locked positions before the unlock. So they buy the locked position at a discount. The seller is now, they were like, 10,000% up or something. They don't have their coins anymore. 3AC now have them and they may be sitting on a double or a triple or something. 3AC, like they're not buying to sell the unlock straight away. They're like buying to get a really good entry on this position and hold it. So often on the bullish unlocks, these coins actually change hands before the unlock already. So when the unlock happens, the cost basis is much closer to market price. It's maybe in 1 order of magnitude away instead of 2 or 3 orders of magnitude away. Mm-hmm. Now, a bearish unlock is when the price is high, the volume's low, the FDV is super inflated, but there's like not so much interest in the actual asset itself. So the coins haven't changed hands and you have a load of people who are desperate to sell. So the missing information, whether an unlock can be bearish or bullish, is like, is the asset itself, does it have like institutional interest? Are there big players that are looking to position in a particular token and they're trying to buy it from the DAO, they're trying to buy it from other investors that are locked up? Like, is it something that's like more blue chip or is it something that's just, like some trash? Yeah, it's just like up a lot and maybe they did like a coin list sale and they've released like a fraction of the float or something. So the FDV is insanely high. So you have like, I think an example is like, I'm not going to say a name because I
get in trouble again.
Yeah. But like you have like one of these coins where there is virtually zero institutional or smart money interest in buying at the current valuation or even buying at 10% of the current valuation. The like volume is pretty low on the pair and they have unlocks coming in Q1, Q2 where investors are up 10,000x or 20,000x or 50,000x. That's a fucking bearish unlock. My camera's rugged me, but I'm still here. That's a bearish unlock. Like the ICP thing was a bearish unlock.
ICP.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. It's just like that is just horrendously bearish. Like there's a bunch of new sellers who have been desperate to sell for ages and couldn't sell to anyone, and they're like they're going to dump it on the market. At the same time, you have unlocks that happen, which was like the Solana one, and I think potentially like the Solana one again, the coming Solana one if it hasn't already happened, where all the coins have already changed hands and people are saying worse than a 2x or a 3x. So the only thing that's potentially bearish about that is if there's a major cross-market nuke and there's a bunch of people with newly unlocked coins being like, oh, I can de-risk these now as well. Mm-hmm. But like I think that's the missing piece of information that people don't look at is like, have these coins changed hands during the locked period? Did like the seed investors or whatever sell them for a slight discount to other investors who are not sitting on those massive multiples anymore? Someone sells their 1000x for a 500x to A16Z. A16Z is at 2x, they're not selling that position. Often when these OTC locked trades happen, the positions get re-locked again contractually. So like someone buys locked coins, they're unlocking in Q1, but as part of their OTC deal, they're actually now locked for another year or two. So I think there's just so much nuance to these things that like the bullish unlock meme is very destructive to people because people don't know when it's a bullish unlock or when it's not. And people thinking unlocks are incredibly bearish can also bait people into selling incorrectly. You just need to know is your asset good or does it fucking suck?
That was good. We should clip that or something and make use of it.
No, you have to tune in to get them, mate.
Oh, okay.
You have to sit through 80 drunken episodes. the one with some useful information.
Somebody asked me to show Link ETH. I have it saved on my watch list and I can't find it. They wanted to feel pain. Someone in the chat.
I think it looks very similar to SLP.
Yeah. Is that? I mean, that's not an unlock. That's just regular selling. It's like
it's an infinite supply.
Chainlink is?
No, SLP.
Oh, SLP. Okay. Yeah.
No. A lot of the games have learned from that, and they figured out more utility for the actual in-game currency, right? A lot of them have the governance token, AXS, then there's SLP. That's how you spend it, right? Whatever. Now, like, it's getting so complex. I mean, if you were to look at like Star Atlas, I feel like I need to go to a college course to understand how to even play that game, because there's so many things you can do with those tokens, right? And so there's approach to simple is better, like a couple of use cases, and then there's like overboard with that. But I think the games have learned to take a different approach than what SLP did, having more use cases for or utility for these in-game currencies.
It's been interesting though, because it's infinite supply is obviously not good. But what we've also seen is people don't really like when there's no more supply to be distributed either. So like Wi-Fi and there's been some other coins that have had similar patterns to this, where all the coins are out there. And the only way now for these people to make any money is for the protocol revenue to be returned somehow to them. And the protocol revenues essentially don't justify the price on a multiple basis.
Yeah.
And now they're like panicking to figure out some other, Ponzi-nomics or something to get them to get the numbers to go up. So like Wi-Fi is now talking about buying coins back using protocol revenue, because what's the price of Wi-Fi? How many coins are there? Isn't it a super small number? It's a small number, yeah. But more importantly, the price of Wi-Fi went to like 90K, and then since August 2020 is flat, and relative to ETH is down a lot. That chart's that's not a good chart. No. So where you're seeing success is where it's not like super inflationary, but there is some inflation in the coin to like encourage people to want to participate in that ecosystem, whether it's like through yield farming or staking or whatever, as those coins continue to distribute. But full out, it's already all distributed, it's already spread around, is not really working for people either. Anyway, most of these charts look pretty bad versus ETH, other than the layer ones. Like we just showed several while y'all were talking, and like Solana looks really good, and a couple of the layer ones have done really well, but like some stuff just can't seem to keep up with Ethereum. Kobe, do you think there'll be a time where some of these DeFi coins and stuff that have underperformed Ethereum will be able to catch up?
Oh, God. To all-time highs? I don't know.
No, not necessarily to all-time highs, but like to stop dying.
I honestly don't know. I don't know. I don't know what it could be. I don't see it in the near future anyway. I mean, ETH looks great. They all look like ass, but and also there's an interesting dynamic, right, where a lot of these projects also contribute additional value to Ethereum. So like if you take Maker, for example, does Maker add more value to the Maker DAO governance token, or does it add more value to Ethereum by having DAI be a massive part of the Ethereum ecosystem? So it's not even obvious to me that they're supposed to go up against Ethereum. But
it's just like a donation.
I mean, it's easy for these narratives to catch on and get really out of control, isn't it? So I don't want to say never. I just like it happens quick. So I don't know. I can't see it in the near future.
Interesting.
SZ,
Yeah.
Adam, do you do any stuff with like DeFi? Do you pay any attention to this at all? Are you on chain ever, or are you always logged into a centralized exchange with 100 charts up?
I actually do quite a bit of stuff. I do some LPs and mostly single coin staking. I used to short the futures with it, so be kind of like delta neutral and just collect the rewards, which is kind of easier than get into LPs and deal with the impermanent loss and all this stuff. So, and since I don't really follow it that closely, it's ideally you want to be in some pool when we are bullish on both coins and they will both go up. But yeah, since I'm not really watching that too much, I'm just doing kind of like simple.
That's kind of cool. So you basically buy like token, is it buy ETH to put in the ETH USD pool, then you'd short the same amount of ETH
I used to do it a lot on Radium on Solana when it came out. There was like 60-70% APR for single staking Radium, so you just put it there, and I shorted the same amount on the FTX. And that's kind of a trade.
That's cool, and then the reward you get just massively outweigh the funding.
Yeah, basically. Obviously, sometimes funding is too high, so you need to be kind of careful, especially on FTX where it's hourly based. So, but there are quite a bit of these things, especially now since there is so many of these ecosystems you can kind of find, and I'm loaded on Discord and with some smarter people than me, so we should just do what they do and copy them. Yeah.
And I personally don't. I mean, I don't know too much about it, but I've guys that I work with. I just hand it to them. They deal with all this farming and staking. I do a bit of single-sided one myself, but it's too much for me to continue. Because I'm doing FX and I'm doing this, so I just hand it to them, and they just do it all for me. Just give it to somebody that knows better than me. That's it.
There you go.
I'm more and more thinking like doing that, but with my whole life. Just like I like spend so much of my time looking at this shit, and I'm like, I know there are people that exist that are really good at it, right? Like maybe I could just give Alameda all my money and be like, can you just like, it won't make a difference. Just put it on the stack that you trade with, and then like give me back my share later. Like they'll probably outperform me. It'll be fine, and I won't have to think about this shit ever again. I can pretend coins don't exist.
There you go. I don't think you could give it up though. You at least would have to be out there on Twitter, observing from your high place.
No, I'll just pick a new community and go talk to them.
Just get involved in chess Twitter. Is that a thing?
Probably.
Yeah, that's what you.
What's that guy's name? Well, your buddy, you rated him on the
Lurlek, yeah. He's gone full degen now. He went from like software engineer, chess trader to like fully in shitcoins, leverage trading all the time.
Oh boy,
he's gone really deep. I don't know if we did it. I don't know if like that raid was like
changing lives in all kinds of different ways.
Yeah, maybe we should get him back to see how he's doing.
We need to do that. In the meantime, though, we should probably get to the alpha. If y'all have watched the episodes of Up Only before, if you've watched this show before, We do alpha at the end of every episode, and we ask our guests to tell us a little bit of something that makes your life better, makes you a little happier, makes you more fulfilled, and that could help our guests as well. ISO, you want to go first?
Oh man, put me on the spot here. Alpha? I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to shill any like coins or anything like that.
No,
I think
not financial, just like
life lessons
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, like a good way to explain this is Ledger's got some fortune cookies, yeah? He's going to read one out for us now, and then you're going to tell us a fortune cookie that you've made up yourself. But it doesn't have to be like weird trading pun like this, but it's just like some sort of mantra you go back and you're like, you know what? I find myself thinking about this thing often, and I find it a useful sort of guiding mechanism. Other people should also know about it. Ledger, what's yours say?
Have you ever waited too long and missed out on something? It's like, that's not a fortune.
Is that all it says?
Yeah. It's just
okay.
telling me, you missed the Solana trade.
that basically just described the whole art of aping.
Yeah. Ape-harder is what they said.
Yeah, for crypto. I mean, I would just say it's really important to keep an open mind. And, a lot of the success that you're going to have in life is surrounding yourself with people around you who complement you, but also add value and make you a better person, smarter. You just have more idea flow. And that's something that I've done in crypto that's been really valuable to me. I think crypto, just in terms of like where I came from in traditional finance, like the ability to knock on doors in this space and connect with some of like the biggest thought leaders in the space who I think arguably are going to be very big icons in the future, is like the opportunity is there if you want to go seize it. And that's what I've been doing ever since I've joined the space. And so it's not so much trading alpha. It's just like that's something that has helped me a lot for the last couple of years, I would say.
That's good. SC, what about you?
I'd say, if you've done really well, crypto is life-changing. Just take somebody that's fortunate, that's in this space, and just work with them like a mentor, and try to change their life, one at a time. Makes you feel better. And, that's it. You can't, it's priceless, if you're able to change somebody's life, even like a year's income worth, giving them that skill set, and that's worth it.
Nice.
I think like 35 people doing this with Gainsy at the moment. Gainsy's become that person for so many people who somehow just got like 35 different mentors giving him trades. How does this happen?
He needs it.
Yeah, he does need it. Adam, they're all saying we want the Bitcoin edge, but you can say whatever you want. You don't have to give away your edge.
Well, I think what is cool about crypto is like there is so many things you can do, and there is like no right or wrong way to make money in the space. So people should like spend maybe less time arguing about what is the best way and kind of just find something they kind of stick to their lifestyle and like to do, and they will, if you can stick to that one thing, you can do really well.
That's why I only play to earn.
One day at a time.
Thanks for coming on, lads. See you again soon.
Appreciate y'all being here. Thanks everybody for joining us. We'll put all the links and stuff on Up Only TV, and also go to uponly.tv/FTX where you can trade from one coin to another today. Also track your portfolio and earn yield on the tokens that you do own. You can earn 8% up to $10,000 and 5% beyond $10,000 only on the FTX app. Go to uponly.tv/FTX to do it today. Thanks to them for being the exclusive partners of Up Only TV. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.